Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Midwest Talk. Today we're going to talk about how interest rates and everything else have impacted the market and just what we're seeing across the Midwest in all its fantastic glory.
Fantastic. So I'll kick it off just because I had that data that I brought to you guys. So I've been talking to a few agents just because I have a listing coming up. I've also seen agents posting about this too, just ha not having people come and view the properties. So they're not even really getting showings right now. And some of them are even withdrawing some of their listings for some of their personal properties and so on, or opting to rent them instead, which I thought was pretty interesting and bodes really well if you've got some dry powder and you're looking to buy a rental property. Not so good if you're wanting to sell a house in the near future. Yet again, that is in my local market. So even where Lena invests up in Gary, it could be a completely different situation right now, but that's just what I'm seeing around Indianapolis. It seems like people are struggling a little bit to get things moving. For perspective, I had a property that I just closed on with a client on, say, Friday. And we ended up getting that one for roughly 50% off of their asking price. So they listed at 140. They had been on market for about 280 days. So getting real close to two-thirds of a year. And we just ended up offering them 101. They accepted that, and then we came back with some inspection items and got it down to 95. So yeah, that's what I've been seeing lately. What have you guys been seeing in your markets?
I think I was saying earlier that in my market, I not actively buying, but oh, over the last week, I have seen an influx of properties, small properties, like two bedroom, one bathroom, and I don't know who was holding on to them because they all look almost the same. Brick buildings, bedroom, one bathrooms, and they need like not full gut rehabs, but like medium rehabs. And then so now their entry price is between 50 and 80,000, which as opposed to like the whole year today, you hadn't seen that. Everything in Gary that you would see like that was medium rehab or light rehab would be over 100K. So there's an opportunity there, but I think it's looking more like last year, 2024, as opposed to 2025. I know 2025 has been like a buyer's market in which properties have been sitting longer and interest rates have remained high, and they recently calmed down. But um, from my perspective, I don't see good deals like last year, as good deals. I think I purchased like two properties this year, and those deals are like they're okay, but they're not great deals like I found in the past year. Yeah.
There's like base hits right now.
Hitting just
So
that yield barely.
so with those properties that you saw coming on market, you said that they all looked very similar on the inside, like it's one owner that's unloading their portfolio in Gary.
That's what I'm guessing. I mean, I haven't like going and I'm able to pull up the records for every part via the county. So I haven't like gone deep dive into it, but they're all like 796 square feet. They all don't have garages. Like it's basically they all brick homes. So that's what I kept seeing. They're all
Like it
like
was somebody's.
kind of close to each other.
Mhm. Like that was just somebody's buy box. They're like, I want two-bedroom houses, all brick, no garage.
That's what it sounds to me like somebody just decided, okay, it's time to put them on the market. And then, yeah, it was like 20 houses like that, I swear. And my zip codes, of course.
And did you say that they listed them for between 50 and $80,000?
Yeah,
Wow. Seems like somebody's unloading, like,
yeah,
and trying to sell them all quick.
that's what I thought so too.
It's interesting. What are you seeing in your market, Jack?
So I've been talking to some different agents and stuff, and what I'm seeing is that the people are doing more showings,
Mhm.
but there's not necessarily more offers being put in compared to like even 3 months ago. It's just kind of status quo. I think with the talk and stuff about the interest rates, if people got all excited, but now like nothing's really come of it because they then go get pre-qualified or they talk to a mortgage lender and realize, oh, hey, it's actually gone up. And this is kind of what I was talking to Curtis, PE turned RE a little bit, as like what people don't realize is with the price of the houses and stuff here in the Pittsburgh market, the interest rates going up a little bit is not influential that much to your mortgage rate. It's less than $150 a month, which I know is quite a bit, but at some point, you know, like in a span of 10 years, like the life of the mortgage, the rates will go down. You can always refinance at that point. And I don't know if it's, I don't see why $150 is going to keep you on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think part of that, it really depends on which investor type you're looking at. If you're looking at some of the newer investors, things have to hit a defined criteria that they learned from somebody else, and they're not going to do anything until something hits that. Whereas somebody like us that has had a few properties and has the experience of, buying some things that are like, yeah, maybe not the best deal at the time. But you end up finding things to make stuff work. And I think sometimes if it's a market that you really want to be in and you really want to own that area, it might be worth taking a little bit less of a deal just because
Hmm.
you know in the long run that it's going to work out. Now, this is provided that it does cash flow. I'm not going to tell anybody to buy things and just say, oh, well, it's going to go up. Can't
Right,
pay
right.
bills with appreciation.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's investors and homeowners. Like, oh no,
What's going on?
my mug cracked.
Oh, your
Oh,
coffee mug.
oh my.
Not on live camera.
My day's ruined.
Oh my.
Um,
So, as you're saying,
oh, but yeah, it's homeowners and just investors in general that are both, which is kind of surprising because you think homeowners especially be like, "Yay, it's my dream house."
I always find that like odd when people will say that investors are a lot of homeowners competition because the direct data that you can see, it's not generally painting that picture. And also at the same time, you know, some of the deals we look at, if you can pay 10 or $20,000 more than us, and we really can't pay that much because we need to make sure the thing cash flows.
Hmm.
Most of the time, we're not seeing things that cash flow, and homeowners get the pick first. Like, 10 or $20,000 over the course of your loan is not that big a deal in terms of your monthly payment, but it could break the deal for investors, and then homeowners get to pretty much pick whatever they want. Yeah, I don't see investors as competition to homeowners in that case, but I mean, I do see some of the arguments, but I also see a lot of these investors now are actually building properties. Like, have you seen some of the communities that some of the bigger investors, like BlackRock, for example, are building in entire rental communities? So then they're technically adding inventory to the market, then taking that inventory for themselves, or not necessarily taking any public inventory from people that would actually be buying a home to live in. So I don't know.
I don't have a lot of new construction in Gary per se, but I
Mhm.
did see out of the mayor's news X account that they're gonna deploy about $50 million to revitalize the infrastructure, but I don't really know how that's going to be implemented, what's going to be effect. But that's following the convention center being built there. So might result in some improvements, especially on that zip code where the casino is.
Oh, the Hard Rock? Isn't there
Yeah.
like a Hard Rock? Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. That's interesting. I was just talking to somebody about this because they were talking about going to Chicago and they're looking for investment properties and such.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, have you heard of Gary, Indiana? And I just went through the whole like genesis of like Gary, Indiana and how it started and what happened and so on. And I was telling them that it's slowly been revitalizing. Like it seems like for the longest time, nothing happened in Gary. And then all since COVID, it seems like Gary has just started to figure out that it's 30 minutes south of Chicago, or other people have started to figure out. And I think I know there's a small group of people to blame for, but getting a lot of people to realize that Gary is very close to Chicago, and there's a lot of benefits of, whether you want to live there and work in Chicago or whatever. I think that city has some nice advantages. And aren't you right on Lake Michigan as well in Gary? Yeah.
Yeah, you're lakefront for sure. And yeah, I think the especially like I said, closer around the Harbor Casino and lakefront properties, that's always been like a hot spot. The casino is very close to Griffith too, so it's like the borderline per se. But you have that kind of in the middle, you have the university as well. So the university housing or around that, it's also a very nice area. And around the hospital, the only hospital is there as well. So those are real pockets that are like nice to drive by, nice to stop by. But then you have the other pockets as well. But yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of flippers, which in my mind, when I went to invest there, like I did not see those flipping properties like hitting the MLS, like newly renovated, ready to go, like quartz countertops. I did not see. Now I'm seeing that way more so. And then so there is a market for flipping, I guess. There was, if you just look up by zip code, like average days of market vary between 30 and like 92. So, like there's zip codes that are moving quite fast.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Mhm.
And when you said by the university, are you referring to, I believe it's like Chicago Medical or something like that university? It's like near Gary and Crown Point, or am I
No, it's in
wrong here?
Gary, Indiana State University, Northwestern
Oh,
Indiana State University. Yeah, there's a university right there.
oh, I did not know that.
Yes, right
So,
in the
so
middle of
Gary,
Huh?
is Gary a lot bigger than we think it is? Because I'm not from the area and stuff, and I've never been there. So like, well, when I think of Gary, I think of like a small town that has like a few, like steel mills that are shut down, and just like kind of a rundown, just like a 1950s kind of rundown beat town that's seen its glory days in the past. But it sounds like it's bigger than what I'm imagining it, because I'm imagining only like maybe a 10-mile radius type of thing.
No, it's
Uh,
bigger than 10 mile radius for sure. Almost encompasses all of the south of Lake Michigan, like the whole south,
Okay.
directly south. But it is, I think 10 or 12 zip codes altogether, and it used to house 250,000 people, and now it houses about 85,000. So I don't know. I live in LA, so LA is huge. So for me, Gary is small, but it might be bigger than you guys'
yeah, it
think.
is. It's
Hmm.
double the size of my town. Even though people say Gary is like a ghost town, it's double the size of where I live.
Yeah. For me, it's like you can get through like from side to side in 30 minutes. So I'm like, that's that's just like around me, basically.
Yeah, well, LA is massive.
Yeah.
And there's what? I mean, what's the population of LA even? I guarantee it's in the millions.
Yeah, of course. Which I've been
Um,
going to meetups in LA, and then people, when I ask about the market, they're like, what market? Nothing's moving. I've seen now Pet Split come to LA, the co-living. So I like very curious about how that's gonna go with all the tenant laws here, how like that's gonna develop. I see a couple of um, owners that are making like their 4 bedroom, a 5 bedroom, and then they're gonna start in Pet Split. And basically, what their thinking was the same, like I could get just a regular tenant and rent by the room, but they can still stay and squat the unit. So I'm running basically the same risk here. So it doesn't change the way of, but it may change the way that I get money, like more money per
hmm.
co-living. as opposed to like doing rent by the room. So I'm like, I guess if it's the same risk.
The
Yeah, I was,
population for LA is 3.879 million.
Ooh.
yeah. So that's probably, I don't want to say it's bigger than Indiana, but I think LA has more people than all the state of Indiana. Gotta check this. It's gonna bother me. Oh, no, I'm way off. I am way off. It's half, a little bit over half. We got 6.9 million people that live in the state of Indiana, and LA has nearly 4 million people.
Mhm.
But no, that's interesting. I was listening to Graham Stephan talk about his rentals in LA, and he had said that his properties at this moment, because it's rent controlled now, would be worth more if they just didn't have anybody living there. Which is, I
Yeah.
don't know,
It
it's
sounds
disappointing.
very broken up with real estate in general. Like
Oh,
I
he
feel
does?
like, yeah, it seems so. I think the only reasons, like this is my thinking, I don't know if this is correct, but the only reason why he holds those properties is because he can't write them off in
Oh, yeah.
his like active income because he makes significantly more money from his business, right? And not compared to like his real estate.
Yeah. No, I see that. Well, also like people quote him as like a reason to, not a reason to be, but just quote some of the things he says to be super selective, like, oh, we can't find any deals out there. He's in a very different situation and he doesn't have to actually search for deals because he can just focus on running his YouTube business.
Yeah.
Whereas most people, if you're trying to build something to where you don't have to work in a few years, you need to be out there actually doing the work, whether it's in your market or not in your market, to find places that you can buy deals. Um,
So I got a question for y'all since we're kind of on this topic now. I forget who the guest was, but he was on Coach Carson's channel. I don't know if it's an old episode that just popped up or if it was the newest episode, but he was talking about real estate is a way to get to, your FI number and potentially even your financially free number. But he said in order to create true wealth, you have to diversify a little bit into other aspects. And he said for himself, he uses stocks. And it started off as coach, which is just like, yeah, I do the same thing. And he's just like, no, he's like, you have less than 10% in stock. He's like, I'm currently at 50-50 almost. And so how do you guys like I know, for example, Dion's very much against stocks. Where do you guys stand as far as diversifying? And it could not be stocks. It could be like your own business, for example. But at what point do you think it's worth, switching from real estate into like something else, getting a little bit more liquid and stuff?
Lynn, do you want to go?
Yeah, so I think I come from thinking that diversifying is good, but also I come from the thinking like what the Suber says when you specialize in one asset and one asset only, and then you practice it and you practice it every day and
Hmm.
you become an expert to it. There's no other way that to build wealth than concentrating on like your business, right? Like all of your effort, and it's kind of like this has to work because it would work because I'm working at it, kind of thing. But I think that everybody's level of work that they want to put into the business is different, right? Like I want to be passive. And what is more passive than throwing money at stocks and then let it do whatever it wants and just wait 30 years? But if you're the kind of person that you're like, no, I'm gonna, basically work 24/7 for the next 2 years. So the following time, then I can do whatever I want, then go ahead and do it. Like, but I also think that at this point in my life, I think I want to stop exchanging my time for money. So I will continue to invest in the stocks. And even I use that as a tool to invest in real estate. I had in the past liquidated my brokerage account to buy deals, but I still carry a couple retirement accounts as well.
Yeah. No, I would say that I'm very similar in opinion as far as like whatever you're doing. you should base it on your level of intended activity. So if you don't really want to do a lot, and this is really for the people that are starting out and they're trying to go from, I have a little bit of money that I've been saving and I'm trying to decide, do I do stocks? Do I do real estate or do I start a business? Uh,
Hmm.
I would say not everybody's cut out to start a business. There's a ton of people online that'll tell you everybody should own a business and why would you work a 9 to 5? You're all right. So as I was saying, the a lot of people online will tell people that they need to start businesses, and I just don't think that's true. There's other ways that people that don't want to go out and think about all the things you have to think about when you're running your own business. Um, I feel like there's a lot less stress associated with just getting a 9 to 5. And if you want to improve your life in other ways, you can just focus on investing your money properly. And properly is all going to be based on the level of activity that you want to do. Like some of us don't really want to work after we get done with work. We just want to clock out and not deal with anything. That's where I think stocks is a good place for people to invest their money. If you want to grow wealth a little bit faster, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of bit faster, that's usually where I recommend people get into real estate. So I always say that real estate should be the first place that people start. So generally what I say is if you are aiming to get really wealthy relatively quickly, and by quickly, we always say that it takes a bit of time, so like 10 years or so, 15 years. You can do that very easily starting in real estate and building up a real estate portfolio. And then if you want to diversify later for safety, it's all up to you. And you can diversify different ways. You can diversify by having properties in different markets. You can have more cash on hand. You can do 50-50 real estate and stocks. You can do 70-30, 90-10, whatever you want to do. Just figuring out what level of activity you want to have in the main point of your portfolio. And if you're willing to actually do the work, real estate, I'd say that's the best place to start. That's where you can build up large sums of money. And if at some point you want to throw that into the stock market to grow. So I recommend starting with I recommend starting with real estate if you're willing to put in the work, and then you can always diversify down the line. Uh, if you are the type of person that wants to start a business, and I would say this is not most people, that is the other place where you can grow a lot of wealth very easily. And by very easily, I mean it's going to be a lot of work at first. You're probably not going to make as much as you would make if you were running or if you were working a W-2. You can do them both at the same time. I see plenty of people that have businesses that they run after hours or on the weekends, and I think that's a great way to grow wealth because then you can take time that you weren't going to spend making money, and then you can make more money with said time and then invest that into real estate or stocks or whatever you do. Yeah, I'm not against diversification, Jack, but I think concentration in real estate and keep some cash on the side to keep yourself
Yeah.
safe if you're not going to have a stock portfolio is the easiest way for a beginner to go from, no portfolio to they've got an income that replaces their job within a very short period of time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think people need to focus on one thing first. Get yourself to, you know, at least your FI number before, preferably your financially free number. I know for myself personally, I've always had a business on the side. So like me having a business, real estate was actually my second thing. So for me, but like real estate's kind of more my primary at this point than my small business. And I know probably in like, and I've always dabbled with stocks and stuff and indexes mostly, but eventually I do want to amplify the stocks up by a lot because I have like a certain number in mind to have coming in from them. And but I really see real estate being the primary focus and like the big chunk of the portfolio.
Yeah, I had that conversation during one of the accountability groups. We were essentially saying like, would there be a number where you just get rid of everything? And I was like, yeah, I probably won't own any real estate once I hit a certain net worth number besides my primary, because then I just don't have to deal with anything. Now, I will probably still keep an apartment building, but I'm probably not going to have houses or some of the smaller duplexes and small multifamilies and stuff like that. It'll probably be a lot more concentrated. And then just most of my money in stocks and like dividend funds and stuff like that. So whoever takes over what I have doesn't have to deal with all the trouble of selling all of my properties.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. If you have a couple millions on the bank, then really, why would you
Why?
continue to try to self-manage, or like if you're at super level, and why would you try to continue the hustle unless like that's your passion and you want to, reach the next level and the next level and the next level, which I think for me, like Dylan says, like if I'm comfortable from living a good life, then I don't think I will continue to scale and scale and scale for the sake of scaling.
Yeah. I think like for me, I want to get to a certain point where I can start doing passion projects, kind of like similar to Matt, the lumberjack landlord. Like his jailhouse really just it really pulls me in, and I'm just like, yeah, I want to do that, but I don't want to have his portfolio.
Yeah.
I don't want to have 170 units. I just don't.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, I like they talked to a couple that they were almost about to retire and they had Social Security obviously is they're available to draw and about 700,000 into their retirement accounts. And if they were to follow the advice withdrawal rate, which is 4%, then that will only create about 2,300 per month in cash flow. Or they could put the money that they have in the 401k into real estate and buy, I don't know, three properties. They could generate significantly more than 2,300 if they, for example, bought in cash, like let alone if they want to leverage that even and then do like 50% down and then get six properties instead of like three, right? So could they get more than 2,300? So that's when like the powerful thing about real estate kicks in. And I'm like, they are just at that point of like they want to stop working, but the retirement in stocks, not retirement account, would not provide significantly cushion for them to do that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I've realize just between stocks and real estate is that if you want to retire from stocks, you need a disproportionately larger amount of money to be able to do the same thing that you can do in real estate with a very small amount of money. Like my total portfolio has been built off of $150,000. And between my partner, well, I'm not counting his money in that. But if we only counted my portion of the deals, it's like a six or $700,000 portfolio that's been built off of $150,000 and the equity is like 300 and something thousand dollars. Um, that also throws off like $30,000 a year in cash flow. That's insane. Like you're just
So
not going to get that in stocks. But if you are at the point, like if you have 700,000, you might be better off just buying a few houses and just dealing with a little bit of headaches to make, what, 50, 60 grand a year, where if you have 5 or $10 million, you might as well just not and make 150,000 to $300,000 a year just on that 3% rule.
Right.
Like, I mean,
so
that's
here's a
that's kind
question.
of where I'm at with it. Sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
So here's a question I have. So like you know how Dion he has the Vodka fourplex and he has the Vacation threeplex, and so for us, would it be smart to have the S&P 500 10plex?
I think so. If that's your goal is having properties diversify, then if you could build your way up to a S&P 500 10-plex, that's pretty sweet. Just take all the proceeds and everything and throw it into that. Yeah. And then you could take the S&P 500 money in a few years, pay off that 10-plex, rebuild the portfolio. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a really hard argument whenever you try to talk to anybody either way about stocks or real estate or building businesses because everybody's very opinionated about how they think is the best way to do something. I think just looking at it objectively, I try to tell people to start with real estate, but that's a little bit biased coming from a real estate investor and an agent. So, you know,
Yeah. I think that
I was thinking I'm probably like the worst person because like Jack, well, what should I start with? I don't know. I have all three. Yay!
Yeah.
I think since I come from the fire community, like that's how I
Mhm.
got into investing, like retirement early, putting money away, cash flow for later kind of thing. Um, then I still have like a lot of YouTube people that I follow that are fire strictly and Instagram and then like whatever TikTok. And then I have all of my real estate peeps that I follow, right? And then there's always like this debate of like real estate is not the way. And then I'm listening conflicting messages all the time. So like just rent and invest in the S&P 500 or like no, forget about the stocks and just all go into real estate. And I don't know why, but I feel like fire community is very, very against leverage your money in real estate. Almost like has been a boycott to Dave Ramsey. I guess like Dave Ramsey doesn't believe in debt and only in cash. And then they're like basically, no, we believe in that too, but like cash, put it away kind of thing. So it's just I always hear about like rent versus buy and how renting is better now. And then us in our community, we're like, we build wealth through buying houses. Yeah.
Yeah, I have never really liked a lot of the message that I get from the fire community as far as not like messages I'm being sent, but the whole message of we'll just build a portfolio to like $1 million, $2 million and then just do nothing. Um, I don't know. I've always looked at real estate as a way to create like a base income, and then if you want to go do nothing, sometimes by all means. But then I also like the idea of being, going and building businesses and stuff like that. But also, I've seen a lot of people posting videos about fire where they have like these portfolios that throw off like, I don't know, 100 grand a year and they're projecting living on something like that kind of income for like the next 30 years. And I've just never wanted to like settle for it, just, you know, essentially doing the minimum what it takes to get by. Like, depending on your market, they could be cash flowing like 60, 80 grand from their portfolio, whatever. I'd rather just build something way bigger. And don't get me wrong though. I mean, I did see a lot of the stuff from Fire, and that is kind of what got me started on the journey to buy a bunch of real estate. But I feel like there's different messages that you'll get from the Fire community versus our real estate group that seems to be a little bit more driven towards the business builder side of building a business within your portfolio versus the Fire community that's just, I want to get out of this job as fast as possible. Let's optimize for not working as soon as I can
Mhm.
without real estate.
Yeah. My problem is that you could do both. Like you don't have to buy
Yeah.
rentals, right? Like you could just buy a primary residence in 30 years it will be paid off. So whatever cash flow you get from your stocks, it would be more cash flow for you because you no longer have a mortgage. But even that, even buying your primary residence is still frowned upon. It seems like I think I keep getting that. Don't buy a house, just invest. Like just rent forever and invest the difference. And then I'm like, really? People are investing the difference? I think people are struggling just like to put money away into their retirement accounts. I don't think they're gonna invest the difference. So I don't, in a way, like when you do buy your primary residence, it's like a forced piggy bank that you have to do, right? Because at one point they will be paid off, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think that's where the math and the reality really conflict because they'll say, well, if you look at the math of rent raises over the past 30 years, and if you were to just put that money in the market instead, like, oh, you might have X more money. But people aren't putting all of that money in their portfolio. They're spending it. They're going on vacations. They're buying things that they want, not need, maybe need, you know. Um, I think a lot of the time it's better for people to put money into real estate. I haven't really bought a primary residence to this point for me to just live in myself. Most of my properties, well, all of my properties have just been investment properties thus far. But I do think there's something to say about the leverage factor on appreciation when you're referring to just inflation in general. So buying a property, putting 20% down, inflation's 2%, means appreciation on your original money that you put in there is already 8%. By just multiplying well, actually, if it's 20%, that's five times. So 10%, 2% times one-fifth the money down, 10% per year, just on appreciation alone. And yeah, that's an investment property. But even, I've seen people buy single family houses with a relatively small amount of money down in nicer areas, and they've turned like sub 10K into a lot of money just by living there for a few years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's arguments both ways. Part of the reason why I might not eventually own a bunch of real estate is because I do want to be able to travel around and just not even worry about having anything that can go wrong in the portfolio. Just, like maybe you get a dividend deposit once a month or once every quarter, and I might be in Europe, we might be staying in Asia, we might be, I don't know, vacationing somewhere where people can't reach us.
Yeah.
Just just hanging out and not wanting to have to deal with any headaches down the line, especially just if we reach that target of just not needing to even like, why do we need more money than this? But yeah, diversification I think is good. Once you get the basics handled, like if you're wanting to build a portfolio, do that first and then diversify afterwards. Got anything to add to that, Jack?
Cute.
No, I was just thinking, it only took us 4 or 5 recording attempts for you to finish your sentence.
That is true. It was a long sentence too.
Do you guys have
But
hear about this is like off real estate topic, but have you been seeing the video going around about what is a nice guy, what is a good man?
That
I
video
have
had
not.
me thinking a lot recently. So I don't think I saw the original. I saw Zuber talking to the three amigos because I realized I was kind of self-reflecting on that one a little bit. I'll run you guys through what I was thinking about that. So the first time I was on Zuber's channel, okay, someone came and attacked me in the comments before Zuber could delete it, and I screenshot. I had this whole message typed out, and I was about ready to send it, and and then Zuber came in, saw it, and deleted it as I was about ready to hit send because when I hit reply, it said it just errored out and the comment was gone.
Hmm.
And it kind of had me thinking. And after that, it's like, well, was that really the right thing? Because like, I'm attacking someone on Zuber's channel, which doesn't look good for him. And I kind of thought about that, and then I heard that video yesterday when I was working on the mulch bed. It got me thinking again about that. I was like, huh. And I wasn't sure what to really think about that whole situation.
What's the concept? I haven't seen this video.
It's an interview with Matthew McConaughey, and
Hmm.
basically they ask him what's the difference between a nice guy and a good man. And he basically said that a nice guy is somebody that doesn't like conflict, that wants to appease to people, basically be like a people pleaser, and then not like look for confrontation and not stand for their values. But a good man is somebody that's like true core to their principles, and if you come attack me, I will attack back, basically,
Mm,
because I will rather stand by my values than just try to keep the peace.
gotcha.
It's like
Yeah.
60 seconds. I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that and I can let you know what my opinion is after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Suver's response, he made a video about it with three amigos, like Jack said, and there's a lot of responses online, like just on social media, it's like trending. So
Hmm.
that's what, since you guys are men, I wanted to see what your response would be.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, so I'll have to watch it. I
I
do
think
like
up
Matthew McConaughey though,
I think up
like
to
screen
like
wise.
this is just me. I think probably honestly up to I met Cynthia, I was probably a nice guy, and even like a couple years afterwards. And so probably for like the past like several years, I've switched into a good man, and it's only been like this year that that's
Oh,
really
Jack,
kind
you
of
cut
ramped
out.
up. Huh?
You're back now.
Oh, I was saying so probably about like 8 years ago, I switched more into good man, and over like the past like since this year, that's kind of really just ramped up, where it's just like I don't know why my mindset has changed, but it's changed to the point where I don't necessarily care what people think of me necessarily. You either love me or you hate me. It seems like more people love me though, so I'm okay with that. And my beliefs are my beliefs. I stick to my morals, and that's it. If you if you can't tolerate that, well, there's other YouTube channels you're gonna watch. There's other people in the park to go talk to. You don't have to work with. You don't necessarily even have to work with me at work because there's other things you could be doing. So it doesn't really it doesn't bother me anymore.
I think what surprised me was Silver's response that he doesn't believe he's a good man. He believes he's just a nice guy. And I'm like, then what is the measure of a good man? Is the measure of a good man is just defending, like when somebody comes and attacks you, defend yourself, like that is the measure, or like what is actually the measure? Because if you're just standing to your course and your principles and you like don't care if somebody else thinks of you as a nice guy or a bad guy or a good man, whatever, then as long as you think you're a good man, you feel like you've done what you need to do, then why does that matter to anybody else? I think that's my
I think that's the thing too. Like you just said, if um if you think you're a good man, then you've already won the internal war. And the stress and the drama of everything around you, like, you could disagree with politics, religion, and everything else that's going on around you, and you're in a solid state of mind because it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
You've already won.
Right.
So is it more of a state of mind then than a actual like perception of somebody? Um, I don't know. I feel like you have to like you shouldn't always be willing to fight. Well, you should be willing to fight, but you shouldn't always try to fight people over things.
Right.
I think knowing when to admit when you're wrong or maybe you need to read more into a situation or something like that is really important. That
No,
being said, when absolutely necessary, you should if you need to. But I don't think that should always be the automatic default, is like, oh no, I'm just willing to fight people when they disagree with me on my issues
Mhm.
or like a thing going on. Um, I think you should try to find ways to moderate before you try to fight people.
well,
Right.
no, and
I agree
that's what
with
they were
that.
saying too a little bit. Is just that it if the you could disagree on stuff as long as are doing it respectfully. But like if they're just disrespecting you, then obviously that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like I tend not to agree with either political party a lot of the time. I think both of them have well, I think two parties in general just has flaws.
Hmm.
Because we're a spectrum. We don't all just believe in binary, it's this way or it's that way. Like everybody has different opinions in between. So when they separate people like that, it just makes people get more heated and then they want to fight and they feel like every issue is kind of like this, what you're saying, like I need to fight them over this because if I don't fight for this, like whatever. But a lot of the time, like I'll talk to people that have completely opposite opinions to me on things. And nobody's as crazy as you see on social media. Like everybody's way more tolerant and nicer. Um, Granted, I don't go on college campuses a ton, so I mean
Yeah.
that's where I do see some of the crazy stuff on social media. But most people are actually pretty easy to talk to about things.
Yeah.
So,
I think I watch a lot of Jubilee debates, and it's
oh
basically
yeah.
opposite topics on each spectrum. And at the end of the day, like you're able to find commonalities with the people that you think you would never be able to find commonalities. So I think it's a way of bringing opposing views on the same table and like not being attacking, right? Like not being, and then that I don't think that is the answer. Like if you, let's say, comment in my space and you attack me and I attack you back, what have we accomplished other than negativity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I agree. I agree. I don't completely agree with Matthew McConaughey's take on that then. I think there's a little bit more nuance, but it is also a 60-second clip, so
Yeah.
there's plenty of opportunity to take it out of context. Um, Side tangent, have you guys read his book Green Lights? I actually like that book.
Mm-mm.
No. I think it's pretty good. It's like I don't know how to sum the book up. It's been a long time since I've read through that, but I thought it was pretty good. It just details through his story of like origin to like where he's at now, and just talking about like constantly staying motivated, or searching for the way. That's like the green light, like go. It is essentially a concept that you'll see recurring through the book, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Speaking of him, I
Sorry to take it off topic now. Not
no,
really.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Um, yeah, no, that's a good book recommendation if you guys haven't. I mean, you can at least check it out.
Jack
But no, I'll
will
have to
link
go
it on the
watch.
comments on the
Yeah,
description.
yeah, we're gonna put that Amazon affiliate link
Yes.
too. Um, yeah. I was trying to think. I'll go watch Zuber's video after this because I'm gonna be driving anyways, so I can go see what they say about it. But I have a feeling there's going to be very differing opinions between Dion and the rest of the
Yeah.
crowd, because that's how it usually is.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Do you guys have anything else, or do you want to wrap it up?
I think we can wrap it up. I can stop.
All right.
But I guess
So,
we'll see each other next week on another episode of Midwestern Talk.